What's up, everyone? Today's March 14th, 2021. So happy Pi Day to all you number nerds out there. In this video, we're going to talk about the numerology of the death of Marvin Hagler, a middleweight champion boxer who ruled his division for nearly 7 years as the champion. We're told that he died unexpectedly yesterday at the age of 66. And here in this video, we'll look at some things that are a little alarming about this and how it may be ritualistic or connected to something darker. Now, last week, I made a video on Sunday called Learn About the Metonic Cycle regarding the death of actor Jamil French. And this is a pretty long video. It's 55 minutes. You don't have to watch the whole thing, obviously, but the reason I made it so long is because I wanted to explain about the numerology of the Metonic cycle. I've been getting a lot of questions asking for help on how to learn how to do decodes, and I spent some time discussing about why I may not be the best teacher in that regard, as I had to teach myself by studying for years. So my videos are a filtered version of my studied, or the studies that I've done and things that I've determined are consistent over years of doing this. And here we are a week later, and we get a related death to Jamil French, Marvin Hagler, and we will look at how the Metonic cycle, or the numerology of the Metonic cycle, is coded into this passing very, very similarly. But before we get there, let's start with some basic numerology relating to the date, as we usually do. Marvelous Marvin Hagler died at the age of 66. This is a number I've been talking about frequently lately. Right now, we're in this very significant period of major solar and lunar eclipses. And with the coronavirus vaccine being rolled out, the revelation riddles are really picking up. Of course, the coronavirus is entirely about the number 666 bringing about a new society and the mark of the beast. So it's been really easy to decode things during this time. So we start with the name Hagler, which equals 666 in reverse Sumerian. Remember, it's the 66th book of the Bible, Revelation, which reveals the number of the beast. In the King James Bible, the Masonic Bible, the only one I ever refer to in regards to Gematria here on this channel, notice how the phrase 636, as 666 is written out, has this Gematria value of 313 in the alphabetic order. 313 is also the reverse value of Marvelous Marvin Hagler, which was not only his nickname, but was actually his official real name. And Marvelous Marvin Hagler has died on March 13th, the date written 313. Furthermore, the number 313 is a prime number. That would be the 65th prime number. And Marvin Hagler is known as one of the greatest middleweight boxers of all time. Notice how middleweight and Marvin Hagler both sum to 65 in the standard reduction method. Hagler died on a date with pretty interesting numerology. 3 plus 13 plus 20 plus 21 gives us a sum of 57. This date also has a life lesson number of 21. Notice how these numbers are found in the gematria of the word moon. 57 is significant to our moon because it has a 57-degree range of declination. And this brings us to the Metonic cycle, which I discussed in great detail last week relating to the death of Jamil French. The Metonic cycle, as I pointed out, is made up of a period of 235 synodic months, or lunar phases, and 19 tropical years. Now, what this technically means is that in this Metonic cycle, there are 254 sidereal months. So that would be actual lunar orbits, which is a little bit shorter than a lunar phase. So this 254 is very significant. And when you look at the gematria of Marvelous Marvin Hagler in the alphabetic order, you get this value of 254. In English gematria, 254 is a significant number of time. Notice how time equals 254, this big number of the Metonic cycle. Time, of course, and light connected. 254 for light as well. So we see the 254. Well, remember last week I talked a lot about the number 235, the number of lunar phases in the Metonic cycle. Marvin Hagler was born on the 23rd of May, or 23/5, like the number 235. Then he ended up dying on the date March 13th, which equals 235 in the reverse alphabetic order. What's also standing out to me now about March 13th is the ordinal value of 170, because in Jewish gematria, moon equals 170. And the date also had 57 and 21 numerology. So the Metonic cycle is technically 235 lunar phases exactly. So these 235 lunar phases sync up almost perfectly with 19 solar years. But it's not exact. The Metonic cycle is 1 hour, 27 minutes longer than 19 years. In the standard alphabetic order, Metonic cycle equals 127, like 1 hour, 27 minutes. Marvelous Marvin Hagler lost his title, WBC title when he was exactly 12,007 days old. 127, like Metonic cycle. But check this out. It was his 13th title defense. Notice how 13th equals 127? The Metonic cycle measures the number of years with a 13th month. Remember, this basic numerology of the Metonic cycle is coded directly into the alphabetic order. Metonic cycle, 127. Consider how in this 19-year period, 12 of them have 12 months, 7 of them have 13 months, or lunar phases. So this means every 19 years, 7 of them have 13 full moons. So he successfully defends his title 12 times and then loses his title in his 13th defense. 13th, 127, like Metonic cycle, like his age. So remember last week, I did this video on Jamil French, and I explained how this was a major Metonic cycle riddle. Well, check this out. Measuring from the death of Jamil French, March 1st, well, you go from March 1st, 2021, to the death of this boxer, and look how it's 12 days or a span of 13 days. These two Metonic cycle deaths, separated by a span of 12 or 13 days. Jamil French died on 3/1, a date with 45 primary numerology. Metonic cycle equals the 31st prime number and the 45th prime number. 3145, just like the date of Jamil French's death. Furthermore, Metonic cycle has this English value of 1108. Marvin Hagler died a span of 11 months and 8 days after he lost his title, or the anniversary of that date. And of course, the word death also 118 in Jewish. The Metonic cycle is credited to an astronomer named Meton of Athens. And see how Meton of Athens equals 196? That matches Marvin Hagler, 196. Thinking about the date March 13th on which Hagler died, this date can also be written as 13/3, like the number 133. Well, what stands out about that number is that if you go exactly 133 days, you find it's exactly 19 weeks. 19, this number of the Metonic cycle. Well, let's look again at this astronomer, Meton of Athens, who the Metonic cycle is credited to. The name Meton equals 67, and 67 is the 19th prime number, 19 years in his cycle. Of course, that's no coincidence. Check out how Marvin Hagler fought 67 career total bouts in his professional career. 67 total fights. That 67th and final one was to Sugar Ray Leonard. And what's really interesting about this, I want you guys to do this yourself and look if you can. When you measure from Marvin Hagler's title win on September 27th of 1980, the Jesuit Order anniversary, measuring from this date, 9/27/80, to the date that he lost the title, which was April 6th of 87. You put this in the date calculator and look at this. You get 6 years, 6 months, 10 days. And that's correct. 6 years, then 6 months would be to March, and then 10 more days to April 6th. But if you search around the internet, everybody has him listed as 6 years, 7 months, and 10 days. 6 years, 7 months, 6 years, 7 months, 6 years, 7 months. How could everybody get this wrong? 6 years, 7 months, no matter where you go. They fail to list him at the correct length. 6 years, 7 months, 10 days. That's not right. Perhaps this is intentional to code the number 67 into this. Marvelous Marvin Hagler died 10 weeks and 1 day before his 67th birthday. And check out how Marvelous Marvin Hagler equals 101. He was born on a date with primary numerology of 101. Dying on 3/13. One other thing worth noting is that Hagler's title loss came to Sugar Ray Leonard, who's currently 777 months old, a number of numeric rituals, 777. If you instead measure from the date that Hagler defeated Alan Minter to win the title, you get exactly 14,777 days. Also, 2,111 weeks, a number similar to ritual human sacrifice, 211. So I think I counted most things here. I guess what I also wanted to point out is how the number 666 in and of itself is connected to the moon in so many ways. We start with the size of the moon, 1,738 kilometers at its equator, or widest point. Well, when you translate this to miles, this means the moon is exactly 2,160 miles wide. The number 216 is interesting because this is 6 times 6 times 6. So the size of the moon is directly related to 666. When you write out the number 666, notice how it sums to 2,083. Well, the moon equals 283. Without writing and, 666 equals 238. The moon's average distance from Earth is approximately 238,000 miles. If you even write out 2160, the width of the moon, in Roman numerals, and add it to the moon, you get 666. Because of the moon, the Earth has a polar axis tilt of 66.6 degrees to the plane of the sun. The sun's magic square sums to 666. Sun moon equals 666. So that's why it's so significant that Hagler equals 666, tying into this 603 score and 6 and 313. All right, guys, I think that does it for this video. Again, for anyone looking for more info to tie this all together, go back and watch my video on Jamil French to see the other end of this Metonic cycle riddle. All right, everyone. Peace, love, God bless. We'll talk to you next time. Don't take the jab. See ya.